All right. Good evening, everyone. The Irish Hammer here with you, along with special guest, good friend. Uh, I guess co-host is an appropriate term, T,
Yeah,
for the Heavy Four podcast. For those of you that may not be aware of it, this thing is a blast. We've got a Kentucky fan, a Louisville fan, and T, of course, is a Tennessee fan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. Uh, and man, I'm telling you, they are so entertaining. They're three Marines that have been through thick and thin together and are big fans and supporters of their schools. And it is an absolute blast watching these guys go at it together with each other, jumping on, tagging up against rando, because that's usually how it plays out.
yeah.
And it is phenomenal. So if you are not following these guys, if you're not following their podcast, by all means, please do and tune in. It is a riot. You'll have a great time. So T, welcome. It is
I appreciate it. It was good. You know, we made the connection via Twitter, so I'm glad we can finally get on the show and I can be super biased and just talk Tennessee the whole time. And I don't have to hear all the Kentucky nonsense. I'm not too bothered by the Louisville stuff, particularly because we smacked them in basketball last year. So no
right.
no beef with Louisville. But it's nice, like you said, they hate Kentucky, we hate Kentucky, so we gang up on Randall. So those are my brothers, but it's nice to be able to get on and link up with you and just talk some Tennessee, some good old Tennessee stuff.
That's right. That's right. And again, it's just a thrill and absolute pleasure for me to, sit down. Thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. And I look forward to figuring out how this season's going to go. So again, of course, Tennessee off season drama and the like. It's not anything new. We're accustomed to that. But this one was a little bit bigger with the whole Nico, I'm going to leave you trotting off to Westwood to play in front of tens of fans in Los Angeles. So
Yeah,
basically,
it was.
we initiated the first college football trade. Kind of ipso facto, we send him there, and then Joey Aguilar, who had just transferred from App State to UCLA, kind of gets kicked to the curb because Big Nick and the boys rolled into town. Here we sit. The young man has earned the starting quarterback position at Tennessee. So just give me some thoughts on how you see that, what you think this offense is going to look like with a quarterback that's come in and basically gotten a little over a month's worth of work going into a game against a team from the ACC in Syracuse.
So you brought it up with Nico, and you know how we are, Tennessee fans. We think we are the cream of the crop, and so we will not tolerate it when we are spurned. Right? We go back to how Kiffin did us, and how we still hate Kiffin to this day. I was actually a little less bothered by Nico because Kiffin had us. It felt like he had us on an upward trajectory, and so I think we were all really upset. One, because we're not a stepping stone program uh, in our eyes, and I don't think we are anyway. But two, it held a lot of promise with Kiffin, so that hurt when he left because that promise left with him. With Nico, I wasn't as spun up just because I don't think he performed to that level last season. So I was a Nico fan. I thought he was tough. And I was really looking forward to him coming in this season and seeing what progress he made because I think there was a ton of potential there. But based off what he did last year, it wasn't enough for me to be up in arms when he decided to leave. I was like, okay, I wanted him to stay, but he's leaving. We'll be okay. So insert Joey, and you're right. He hasn't had a ton of time to be ingrained with the offense, to develop chemistry with the receivers. I don't think that that's going to be as detrimental as everybody thinks because despite what our offense looks like with our guys spread out, beyond the numbers and all that, Heupel is all about running the rock. And so really all we need Joey to do is be smart with the ball, which he will, because that is a staple of Heupel quarterbacks, is not committing turnovers. So I think he'll do that. And then just hit a couple of the deep balls. These dudes are wide open. I mean, they've been wide open. They were wide open for Hendon. They were wide open for Milton. They were wide open for Nico, and Milton and Nico just couldn't hit them. So if Joey can just be fairly accurate on the deep balls, I think the ground game will kind of do the rest for us. And I think it's going to be a trio with Starr from Duke and then Peyton and Bishop, kind of like we were. I think Milton's year, right, when we had Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, and Dylan Sampson.
That's right.
I think it's going to be similar to that. So as long as Joey can just nail the fairly easy throws, in my opinion, for a Division I quarterback with those deep throws, as long as he can do that, I think he'll be a fine replacement for Nico.
I think so too. And one of the things I pointed out especially when UCLA and other UCLA is not a rival, let's be honest, but they've created this, dramatic rivalry now, if you will, since this whole thing went down. But all the other schools, especially conference schools, man, just dropping craziness on us about, oh, you guys are, you're dead, you're nothing without Nico. Man, let me tell you something. Against SEC teams last year, not named Vanderbilt, the dude threw 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he was bad.
Okay, so that type of production is not going to be difficult to replace in Josh Heupel's offense. And throughout this whole quarterback battle, and I mean, I love all our guys. I was cheering for whoever won the job. You know what I mean? But I think 2 things: 1, Joey didn't come here to sit, and 2, if there's anything I know about Coach Heupel, he's only going to play the guy he trusts with the football in his hands. So the fact that Joey won the job tells me that Heupel trusts him to execute his offense. And you hit the nail on the head. If you go back and look at some of the misses we had last year with, some of Nico's accuracy, especially on long balls, man, our wide receivers are 5 yards past any defender. Like, they are toast. They are Jalen Hyatt against Alabama, toasted. And we just couldn't make the connection. Yep. So you're right. If Joey just hits half of those throws, then this offense is going to be more than fine, because this gimmick offense that all you idiots out there keep trying to say that we run is predicated on the run game.
Right.
We just spread you out to do it. We don't line up like Michigan and an amoeba going down the field with 3 yards in a cloud of mud. We spread you all the way out, and then we run the ball down your throat. And then when you creep up, stack the box, bring up a safety, play single high, whatever it looks like, that's when we go deep. I believe we've got a guy that can trigger the ball and make these throws. So I said it when he left. I'm going to stand by it. We upgraded at quarterback in my eyes, because we got a kid that isn't afraid to throw the ball. He's not going to hold on to it. He'll run when he has to. He's not going to run out of bounds on 4th down with the clock expiring. And the kid wants to be here. That's the biggest thing for me. This kid wants to be here. And his mom has been kind enough to friend me on Twitter, and we've talked a little bit and shared a little bit. And, man, I can't tell you how excited everybody is to have him. And I hope that for his sake, if nothing else, I hope he just has a phenomenal season, and this can lift him to whatever he wants to do on his next step, because he was that close to quitting football, I understand.
I just heard I was listening to the Animal on the way into work this morning, and they were talking about that story that just came out about him, how he was about to just quit because he was going to be a junior college guy and go be a firefighter. And so Eric Ainge and them, they were just trying to come up with firefighter related nicknames for him and stuff on the Animal, which was pretty funny. But yeah, you have to root for a kid like that who's, he's done it the hard way. Like he didn't have the red carpet laid out for him, with massive scholarship offers and all that. He went through and I was a JUCO guy, so I know the grind that the JUCO is. And so to do that, then to go to Appy State, be successful enough there that a larger caliber school in UCLA wants you, and then present yourself well enough that Tennessee was like, yes, we want you. And then to come here, immediately ingratiate himself with East Tennessee, which, that's huge for us. Come be part of the community. Immediately ingratiate himself. He already seems like he's going to be a hard-nosed type kid. That is the type of guy that we root for. And it's kind of a side note, but I was talking to somebody about Garantano the other day, and how in hindsight, I appreciate him a ton now, thinking about what he was going through with the coaching stuff and all that, like, he did not produce well on the field, but the dude never badmouthed Tennessee. He's still a Tennessee advocate to this day, and he played hard. And so I wish I had treated him. I mean, I'm booing from afar because I'm in the Marine Corps and stationed wherever when he's playing, but I wish I had supported him more. And so I hope, like, as a fan base, that we can learn to appreciate those people who fit the bill and what we're looking for in a person and character and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we want you to produce, and I think he's going to be able to. But if he represents what we want Evolve to represent, then we got to get behind him, and it seems like he does.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of people that I hope watch this and heed those words, because I see a lot of ugly stuff on social media, just in general, about our players. And I mean, that's just nonsense, man. These are kids playing a game. And yes, I know they're very well paid kids.
Yeah.
And it's a very high stakes game, but damn it, they're still kids and it's still a game. So we need to embrace that the way they embrace our culture and make these kids our kids, because they need our support. They don't need to hear any negativity coming from us. They hear plenty of that coming from other places. So you touched on our running back room, which is going to be a three-headed monster. All three of those guys, man, they're just dogs. I mean, they are studs. So a lot of conversation this offseason, and especially in fall camp, about the wide receiver room, because we've had a lot of injuries. We thought we had a plan in place for Boo Carter to be part of that offense, and now we're just concerned if Boo's even going to be part of the team on the field. So what are your thoughts concerning our wide receiver room?
Health is a concern for sure. And then maturing was needed too, right? We have the most expected out of Brazel and Matthews, both which gave us very little last year. Matthews had his injury stuff. Brazel because we had Thornton and Squirrel White and all that. We had all these other guys. But I had high hopes for Brazel last year because he was so highly touted coming out of Tulane. And I have even higher hopes for him this year. So I've heard that his health is fine. His the legal stuff is behind him now. So I have high hopes for him. And we've seen a few times where guys have flourished in their second year as receivers in Coach Heupel's system. But we're thin. We are thin, and it's even if our guys are playing well, we're one sprained ankle away from it being a fairly depleted receiver room. I think we got talent there with Matthews, Brazel, and Staley, and so I'm okay with the talent level, but I am concerned with the health.
Yeah, and when you look at the depth behind them, with Travis Smith and then Rodarius Jackson, who Jackson showed some flash in spring and in the fall, but beyond that, it's pretty thin. It's pretty inexperienced. So I know a lot of people have concerns there. We're just glad to see them, at least those three, healthy enough to participate fully in practice. That's step one, right? Is they've got to be able to be on the field. And I know sometimes taking the quarterback wide receiver, relationship, and everybody being on the same page and figuring out each other's tendencies, and when Joey gets pressure and he's going to roll right or roll left, whatever he does, how they respond and react. So a lot of that's going to take time. So I think early on we will rely probably more heavily on the run, but I think once that offense starts clicking and starts cooking, I think this could be a special group because we've got some dynamic playmakers on the outside. And I think Staley's kind of my dark horse. I think he may have the biggest year of the three, but I think Joey's got something special for us. We're going to see a different level of quarterback, certainly than we saw last year. I think it's going to look more like Hendon Hooker than it looked like Joe Milton.
Yeah, don't say that to me. That gets me excited.
Just saying, bro.
I love me some Hendon Hooker. It hurts my heart to see what's going on in Detroit because I love Hooker so much for what he did, how he helped turn our program around. And you're probably right about Staley. I've slowly kind of been seeing some stuff about Amari Jefferson too. I mean, we had the one clip of him catching a pass from Joey. Now I'm not freaking out about a practice catch or any of that, but at least we have another name coming out of the practice world. So
Absolutely.
hopefully that bodes well for our depth. But I'm still, let's get our main three out there. Let's get them on the same page with Joey. And the other thing is Heupel likes to have an enforcer. It's pretty much been Brew McCoy. He, even though he was hurt a lot. He was like our physical, like he was the second coming to Jawan Jennings in terms of his mindset to me.
Yes.
He couldn't stay healthy, but he had the same mentality. You could count on him. And so we need both our big play guy or like our Tillman type guy, but then we gotta have a Brew McCoy type guy too. So I'm curious to see. I always wanted him to be more involved in the offense than he was, but every time he was solid. He knocked it out the park for us. So we got to have a go-to guy that we can, like Plaxico Barris type, and then we need to have a big play Tillman Hyatt type.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brew was almost elevated to like cult hero with the fan base, and I'm gonna throw a name out there that might fit what you're talking about, just because of two reasons. One, how dominant he is at his position, and then also just the relationship and the rapport that he's built with Joey, because these guys are out on media tours and things like that over the past few weeks, and that's Miles Kitselman. That could be
that's a great point. Real George Kittle, because I think he's physical. He's willing to get down and dirty in the blocking. But then he showed that he's reliable in the catching the ball as well. So I love it. And if he can be the safety blanket, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, we always talk about, like, in the NFL, a solid running game and a tight end can be a rookie quarterback's best friend. Well, a new quarterback in an offense, a running back and a tight end can be your best friend too, with safety valves and dump offs and things like that. So, but all this stuff we've talked about offensively is great, but there's the straw that stirs the drink. That's the offensive line. What do you because a lot of people, man, they're talking like our line's not very good, and I'm scratching my head going, what gives you that idea? So tell me about our offensive line. Should we be concerned?
They're new in terms of playing together. So I think there's concern with that, because continuity within an offensive line is really important.
It's
like
good.
you look at the Eagles, and that's why the Eagles are so dominant, and that's why the Colts, even though the Colts stink as a team, their O line was one of the best in the NFL for so long, because the guys had played together. So the continuity is maybe an issue, but I think we've got talent there. I'm excited to see what Sanders does. Like, I thought that was a huge signing. And I got a lot of love for the state of North Carolina. That's why I went to college. So I love when we can pull guys from North Carolina. Obviously, I'm excited about Faison, but I really, even though he's not a homegrown Tennessee guy, I'm hoping Sanders can be our next, Trey Smith or whatever. So I think we've got talent there, and for them, it's really going to be a matter of can they establish and build enough chemistry in time.
Yeah, absolutely, and with a new quarterback on top of
Right.
that, so everything's new for the most part on this offense. So you mentioned David Sanders. I was a huge fan. I was so excited when we landed him, because I think he fits that kind of Darnell Wright mold with his size.
That's a good comp. He is 6'6".
If he's got a little bit of nasty in him, man, he is going to be a beast. But I'm going to tell you my guy for this year on the offensive line, and I am beating the drum for him, and that is Wendell Moe, our right guard, the transfer from Arizona.
6'2", 330.
This dude
big boy.
Never allowed a sack in his career. I'm going to say that again for folks. I tweeted this out several weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. Wendell Moe has never allowed a sack in his collegiate career. Now, I know he plays interior line. I know he plays guard. But last I checked, there's plenty of inside blitzes and zone blitzes and all kinds of things that even though he's a road grader in the run game, he's still got a pass block. So he's never allowed a sack, in college. That's remarkable.
Well, and coming from Arizona in particular, I'm Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever, but Arizona was throwing the rock a lot because they had the kid that got drafted in the first round at receiver to the Panthers. So they were, that was a lot of opportunities for him to give up a sack and to never do it. I don't care what level you're at. That's still an impressive stat. Let's like he may be a good anchor. So I like that pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because Tet McMillan has been the talk of the draft from a receiver standpoint, and all those folks out there that do the fantasy football thing, me included. McMillan is a rookie with Bryce Young at quarterback, and this dude is still being taken very high. Everybody is high on this kid. And that just doesn't happen. You don't have that type of production in the passing game without a solid offensive line because it takes time. So that's my guy, man. That's my dude on our offensive line this year is Wendell Moe. And then we got Sam Pendleton, who I believe is going to be the starting center. I know Satterwhite was listed earlier, but what I'm hearing, and you probably hear more Tennessee sport talk that I do being stuck down here in Alabama. But
well, I'm in New Mexico, so yeah, they don't care. But I just stream the animal. That's where I hear most of my stuff. But
yeah, so Sam Pendleton, the transfer from Notre Dame. Yeah, I think he's slated, and I think I'm probably going to mess this up because I haven't heard this name pronounced, but Shamarod Umarov is going to slide into that left guard spot with, of course, Lance Hurd at the left tackle. So
that's a huge O line. We definitely got the size. These boys are huge. I mean, Sanders is 6'6", Hurd is 6'6", Umarov is 6'7". So we got the size. I'm a little concerned with Pendleton because why did he leave Notre Dame? He left because he got beat out for the job. Right now,
he did.
Now Notre Dame has had some tremendous offensive linemen. Quentin Nelson is one of the best in the league, and has been forever. And he's a Notre Dame dude. So my hope is that he just got beat out by a future NFL great. But that's a little concerning when you can't win at Notre Dame, but now win the job at Notre Dame, and then you come and you struggle to beat out a freshman at UT. So, but I'm always going to root for our guys. It's just I'm a little concerned at center, but he's definitely probably got the know-how. Coming from a brainiac school like Notre Dame, I think he's probably an intelligent individual, and that's one of your main keys at center. You got to be really, really smart. So I think he's got that part on lock. Just hope he can fit the bill. But it's a little concerning to me that he transferred because he lost the job up there at Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're depending on the, your quarterback's right-handed, left-handed, your left tackle, right tackle. So your left tackle, your center, those are the two components of an offensive line. You really don't want any question marks around. And, Lance, I mean, everybody knows Lance Hurd was a little bit out of shape last year, and he didn't live up to the hype and the potential that we thought we were getting out of Miami. In fact, it was funny. Some people were talking about, hey, can we send him back? Can we get a refund or whatever? But I think a year in our, strength and conditioning and all that, I think he's going to come into camp and he's going to look totally different on the field this year than he did last year. So you're right. If Pendleton can figure it out and can get those protections set and, the blocking assignments, then give Joey some time. I mean, I think he can carve him up. Big Bird joined us on the chat here. I know who this is, but I'm not going to out him. Talking about Moe and Pendleton, good pickups. Yeah, Moe's my guy. He is my dude this year. I am carrying water for Wendell Moe all season. And T made a great point. He couldn't start at Notre Dame, so we'll see what he looks like when he when he puts on the big orange. And then, of course, we've got Bennett Warren kind of sitting in the wings too. That can, I know he can play right tackle. I don't know if he's how well versed he is or schooled he is in other positions on the O line, but another very highly touted recruit. But it's
He's
young.
huge. He's huge too. And he's huge.
He's a junior. Everybody else is sophomores and freshmen on this line.
Which I like for when Faison gets here, but we'll talk. We talk about that at a different time. But yeah, have a nice experienced line. When our guy gets here, that I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So if there's one thing though that Tennessee doesn't have any questions about, and I've been trying to tell these idiot Peabody fans this, it doesn't matter what Diego Poverty does. This defense is elite. This defense is not good. This defense is elite. It is up there, I'm going to say top 10, and that's probably being conservative. We got some dogs on this defense, and we have a ton of experience. There is one underclassman starting on this defense. That's Caleb Beasley at free safety. Everybody else are juniors and seniors. Who's your guy on defense this year, T? Who's going to be our leader and our go-to when we need a stop?
So the easy answer is McCoy, right? And I played corner in college, so I tend to say that. But outside of McCoy, I'm leaning heavy on Josephs. I thought he outplayed Pierce last year, and so I'm really excited to see now that Joshua Josephs is going to be the man. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do. I'm leaning on him heavy, expecting some big plays from him.
Man, we are singing out of the same songbook. I did a quick hitter podcast because all these Syracuse people decided to start showing up in my mentions. I had to put out a little video. I didn't want to do it. I was saving it for next week, the start of the season, but they just weren't having it. So I had to drop some truth on them. I said, there's two names that you're going to know really well by the time that game's over. That's Tyree West and that's Joshua Josephs. And I said almost verbatim what you just said. I think Josephs has a better season this year than James Pierce did last year. And part of that, I think, is because Pierce did garner the extra attention, right? Because he was the big name, the pass rusher, the potential number 1 overall pick. I mean, everybody was, and rightfully so, was talking him up. Josephs, I think, tops that. I think he is going to have a phenomenal season because you go down the list, West, senior, Bryson Eason, senior, Devin Hobbs, who did get hurt, a junior, but then we've got Jackson Mwai that can come in, and Josh Shell. Josephs, senior, Arian Carter, junior, Jeremiah Thielander, junior, Gerard McCoy, junior, Ricky Gibson, junior, Andre Turrentine, senior. This is a very experienced defense. All these guys played together last year. We've got the best defensive line coach.
Rodney Gardner is the man. He is the man.
College football. He could go coach in the NFL tomorrow and be successful. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of, if not the best front sevens in the country. And I know there's some good ones out there, but these guys are absolute beasts. McCoy's health's the only thing that I think we're moderately concerned about as far as the defense goes. But I just think if we could make the college football playoff with a volleyball player at quarterback because we could run the ball and play good defense, what can this team do?
Yeah, I think that's valid, and you're right about McCoy. And so my hope is that we don't rush him back. Let him get healthy. So in our secondary, I'm really curious to see about Ricky Gibson because he's going to, especially the beginning of the season, he's going to slide over to what McCoy was, is my guess, right? So how do you deal with being the number 1 corner? Maybe you're shadowing the number 1 receiver on the other team, that kind of stuff. And so then how's Colton Hood? He came over from Colorado. So you got the greatest corner of all time, or one of the greatest corners of all time, as your coach there. What is he going to bring to us? So I'm really curious to see how those two are going to work together. And then once McCoy, so take your time, young man, get back to 100%, get healthy, and then if we can have some kind of three-headed monster between Gibson, Hood, and McCoy, like one of them is maybe locking down in the nickel spot, I would love it. And so obviously free safety is our weak spot, but when you have such a dominant front seven, that always helps out the secondary, because you can be the best. You can be Darrelle Revis. You can be Deion Sanders. You can be whoever. If there's no pressure and the quarterback has all day to sit there, the receiver will get open.
Absolutely.
But when the pressure is getting up there and the quarterback's having to get rid of the ball, you don't have to cover for that long. Whatever weaknesses you have can kind of be covered up or protected. And so what weakness we may have at free safety, our front seven is going to be able to help them out.
Absolutely. And I think we have a rare benefit of having a defensive backfield that can create coverage sacks. And we have a secondary that's good enough that they can create turnovers on their own, and a front seven that can force bad throws. And our defensive backs can basically take passing game away. I'm going to jump off Tennessee for just a second. Have you ever, or do you ever remember a season that we've had more questions at the quarterback position in the SEC than we do this year?
Throughout the whole conference?
The whole conference.
Yeah, because everything this year is projection, right? Like, what do we think Lagway is going to be at Florida? What do we think Sellers is going to do at SC? Like, it seems to me the only one that there's any kind of confidence about is what's his face at LSU.
Nussmeier.
Yeah. Everybody thinks he's going to be good. I think he's pretty good. But other than that, there's not really – everybody else is only projection, and you don't have a massive body of work to really confidently say this is the expectation.
And even with Arch Manning to a large degree, because all we've really seen from Manning is he can run the ball. He can kind of be a Tim Tebow at Florida before he took over, as the starter. He would come in on wildcat plays or, quarterback keepers, design runs, whatever. We haven't really seen Arch Manning as a passing quarterback. So
I agree.
To name him a front runner in the Heisman and to award Texas the #1 ranking, I know their defense is really good. But all these accolades and all this, preseason hype, we haven't seen him throw the football. So I can't even buy into that. And I'm sure he's going to be good. I'm not Texas people. I'm not sitting here telling you your quarterback sucks. We haven't seen it. And that's true for so many programs. I mean, we don't know what Mateer is legitimately going to look like. And we saw Lagway flash, and then we saw him get hurt. So can he stay healthy? Is he going to make it to the end of November when it's really going to matter? Alabama, we have Ty Simpson, who wasn't good enough to beat out Jalen Milroe, apparently. So, you're right. I mean, LSU, South Carolina, Florida are about the only schools that have a returning quarterback. And I don't care who Kentucky throws out there, Rando. You guys have had more 5-star busts and saviors come through that could barely put mayonnaise in coffee to – I have no concern about whatever Kentucky's doing at quarterback. But there's just so many questions that I think defense this year is going to go a long way towards determining, not only success with individual teams, but, what happens in the SEC championship race, what happens with the college football playoff. And it's across the country too. It's not just in the SEC, but I'll be 54 years old at the end of this month. Okay. I've never seen this many question marks at quarterback in our conference. So I don't know.
I like that. I like how that can help us, right? Because even at Georgia, they don't think nobody's convinced about Gunnar Stockton, right?
So I don't think Georgia is.
They're not. They're not. Nobody's convinced about Gunnar Stockton, though I thought he looked okay when he played, in the playoff, but he didn't look like a world beater or anything. So, Tennessee, we're trying to take that next step. We made it to the playoff, but in all reality, our 10-2 was kind of like we gotta get over the hump with Georgia. And this, I don't see how this is not the prime opportunity to do it. They're kind of down. The playing field is kind of leveled out. Half their dudes are probably going to be in jail come game time anyway. So, like, this is you're right. I think all the questions at quarterback really bode well for us when the strong point of our team that we're going to field is our defense, and everybody's questions are on offense. So I like where that could potentially get us.
Yeah, I agree. And I know it's kind of old school mentality to suggest that you run the football and you play good defense and you win championships. Well, that holds true, because if you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to do last year in the NFL, which is a passing league, right? That's what everybody tells us. It's a passing league. But yet Saquon did things that no running back's ever done. And they absolutely shut the Chiefs out for 2.5 quarters, like absolutely dismantled them in the Super Bowl with their defense. So I know everybody wants the sexy, flashy quarterback, right? But I've seen Alabama with Greg McElroy. I've seen Alabama with A.J. McCarron. And I don't necessarily know that even in today's college football that you have to have a world beater,
Right.
5-star quarterback to be successful. I think you can still line up and run the football. I think you can play lockdown defense and smash mouth defense, because we've seen Georgia do it for so many years. They get the biggest, ugliest, strongest offensive defensive lineman they can find, and they just maul people.
And just smack everybody. Yep.
That's right. Just punch everybody in the mouth. And unfortunately for us, they've hit a lot harder than we have over the last 8-9 seasons. So there's just honestly, there's not a team in our conference. There's not a team on our schedule, which, speaking of, that I'm scared of. I think we can compete with any of them. I think some of it's mental. I think we have to get over the Georgia hump. I think we have to figure out a way to win at Alabama, and I think we have to figure out a way to win at Florida.
Yep.
We got to win at least one of those games, because I think the rest of them are very winnable. So while we're on the subject, and I'm not to hide our beautiful faces here, but let's just pull this up. So what are your thoughts on Syracuse? They've got a completely new look. They lost a ton of people.
Yeah, they lost their top receiver, right? And I guess he had demanded like $2 million or something, and the coach was like, not a chance. So, what little bit of firepower they did have, I don't think they have anymore. So you respect them because they're a Division I team, but I don't know anything about them really to strike any kind of fear. So that should be a tune-up game. ETSU, I mean, I know you have to play these games. I can't stand them, particularly because it just doesn't prepare us for what an SEC season is. But this is football. So if we can get ETSU and get out of it healthy, that's the main thing that matters to me there. And then, get ready for UGA the next week. It's just crazy. We're playing them September 13th. But so yeah, the first two, I'm not too worried about it. Let's get healthy, go into Georgia full tilt, or playing Georgia. Let's go full tilt. UAB, that's a school who has a football program. Then they don't. Then they do. So they shouldn't be an issue. Mississippi State, I know they're doing their little whiteout or whatever. I'm not overly concerned with them. I don't know how I feel about their coach yet, because he was only there last season, was his first year. And even though they were terrible, like, give him some time to recruit his guys in, coach his team up, really get them going. We'll see about them in a couple years. But outside of the fact that they are an SEC team and you respect people, not too much there. Arkansas, I think we'll be okay this year. I thought we would be okay last year, but I think hopefully we learn a lesson and we don't take them for granted. And then you kind of get to the real meat and potatoes a little bit, going down to Alabama. Winnable, but like you said, there's some mental hurdles to get over there. Kentucky, we put them on the same playing field as ETSU, Syracuse. So no, in reality, on our show, on the Border Rivals show, I told Rando last year, I was like, Kentucky is not good. I was like, but it's still Kentucky, and you have to respect them as an SEC team. And they came in and they played hard, right? But we did what we were supposed to do. But just understand they're going to play you hard. So just when you're supposed to dominate, but just respect the fact that they're going to give you effort. But we should dominate them. I think Oklahoma is scary. I think Oklahoma has a ton of talent, and Venables finally brought in an offensive coordinator. So the big thing with him, can he leave the offense alone, get out of his own way, focus on game management and or defense, and let the offense do their thing? If he can do that, and I don't know if he can, but if he can do that, Oklahoma, I think, deserves a lot of respect. And I don't know if people are paying attention to them enough. And it's going to depend on what his mindset is. But if he gets out of the way, Oklahoma is a scary one to me. Like, probably, I'd probably put the fear factor equal with Florida. I'm very wary of Florida if Lagway is healthy, because I think Lagway is a beast. But we don't know what his health is going to be. And I would love if we got to play against Harrison Bailey just cause.
Yeah.
I was actually a big Bailey fan. I wish he would have stuck around. I thought he had a lot ahead of him. But it would be cool full circle. I don't wish any ill on him except for the fact that he wears a Gator uniform. New Mexico State and Vanderbilt, I don't think we need to pay much attention to them, other than the fact that Vanderbilt's little brother, and we need to show them that they're such.
Well, and their midget quarterback has shot his mouth off all off season, and so I hope he survives his road trips. They play LSU at home, but they got to go to Austin. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. I think they go to South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. So if he can survive that, gauntlet stretch in the middle of their schedule and somehow be upright on 2 feet and can walk himself into Neyland Stadium on November 29th.
We'll rectify that real quick.
He's going to learn the FA part was fun. Now it'll be time for the FO part. And he's going to find out. The only thing he's going to be running is for his life. I don't know what in God's name 8 for 17 and 104 yards makes you think that you can run your mouth and talk smack on, national television, radio programs, podcasts, whatever. But yeah, they have elevated on my hate watch list, and I hope we beat them by 30. I mean, I really do. But I'm gonna go back to one that you spoke to a little more, because that's the one I've got. In fact, I had somebody ask me yesterday who was my dark horse team for the college football playoff, and I gave them 2. Texas A&M is one. Oklahoma's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I jokingly said the Tennessee game notwithstanding, of course, but Brent Venables is not too far removed from a national championship defense at Clemson. And he had a pretty good defense last year. If he had any semblance of quarterback play in that game with us last year in Norman, I'm not going to say it would have ended differently, but it would have been a lot closer than it was. So I'm with you. If there's a game that I would look at and go, that one worries me, it's that one. And I know that one's near and dear to Coach Heupel's heart. And if anybody in that 105,000 crowd wants to see Oklahoma go home with a loss, it's Coach Heupel.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it all kind of falls to, like you said, what can they do offensively? Is Venables going to be hands off, let his OC run the offense? Is Mateer going to be the guy? that they certainly believe that he can be. So yeah, that one's probably the scariest. I mean, obviously going to Tuscaloosa and to Gainesville, as we said, until we do it, we can't necessarily expect to win it. I think we're capable of winning it. I think we've been capable of winning it many times in the past and have created new ways to lose football games. I I hope that that's not the case this year. I hope that we unlock that puzzle and finally can put those jokers away. So on the spot, what's your prediction? What's our record? If there's any losses, who are they to?
I think 9-3 is a. I've been on the 8-4 train for a while, but the more I've thought about our team, and then particularly the way Heupel puts things together, I think 9-3 is reasonable. I think we get Georgia this year. Um, I going to Gainesville and winning has just been such a thorn in our sides. I'm still nervous about that. Side note, real quick, I got a fun Florida story. So my son's godfather, he coaches for the Raiders now. We were teammates in junior college, so he's been working his way up the coaching ranks. He started back at our junior college. He's from Tucson, Arizona. He he GA'd at Mizzou for 2 years, I think. So I went down there and he showed me the facilities. Their facilities are actually really, really nice in Columbia. But he went from Missouri to University of Arizona. He got to coach back home in Tucson, which was cool. From there, he went up to Bowling Green. And then 2 years ago, I don't know if I got my timing right, but he went down to Florida and to coach at Florida. And he said that I was the second person that he called when he got the job after his mom because he knew how furious I was going to be. And I told him that he was fired from Godfather duties until he was no longer a Florida Gator. So now he's an Oakland Raider now. But yeah, he went to Florida, and I was like, well, I wish your position group success and all bad on your team at all times. So
That's right.
Because I cannot stand Florida, but I think it's going to be hard in the swamp. I would say if Lagway starts, we'll lose. If Harrison starts, we'll win. So let's just say I'm counting for Lagway to play. Bama's tough. I think we'll beat Oklahoma. I'm just concerned about us finding some dumb loss like we did last year against Arkansas somewhere. Like, do we lose to Mississippi State or something? Like some random loss somewhere.
Well, it's so funny too because I hear a lot of the talking heads more so in the sports betting world than sports analysts. And there's a lot of people that seem to think that Mississippi State game is going to be a problem for us. I know it's our first true road game because Syracuse is an Atlanta neutral site, but that being our first road game, and I still think there's too much Nico gone tied into the performance of our team this year. So maybe that's part of it. But what in the world would make anybody think that god awful 3-9 football team, is going to beat us? There is no scenario where I see us lose that game.
Me neither. And they got a great environment down there, with the cowbells and all that stuff. But I'm with you.
I mean, yeah, it's a good environment for the size.
I didn't realize it was that small. Okay, yeah, I mean, so to be that small, yeah, they're good. But I'm with you, and like I said, I think maybe we'll kind of pay attention to them in 2 years if their coach is any good, but they're not there yet.
Yeah. Jeff Lebby's got a great reputation, but I mean, the resources are different at Mississippi State. They're more on par with that blue school that we have to put up with, and I mean, even Vanderbilt's got. I mean, they probably got more money than most people do. Quite frankly, they just don't choose to spend it on athletics.
Right.
Their women's bowling program is very prominent, I understand, and I heard they're starting to recruit for hobby horsing. So I don't know. But anyway,
that's gonna be an NCAA sport soon. If it's like just watch.
God,
That mess is so ridiculous.
Jesus. So you think 9-3 is where we end up?
I do, and I don't necessarily know where I think the third one is going to come from. I'm still concerned because that's one thing I'm a big Heupel guy, but that is one thing that he's got to shore up. I mean, I think we lose it like every time after the bye and stuff. So um, so far he has shown us that we'll have a dud somewhere, and so that's what we got to clean up. But until we do, I'm kind of accounting for that. But I think of our big three, we'll at least win one of them. So I'm not accounting for 3 losses with those 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right, too, as far as Georgia's concerned. This is crazy to say, and I'm sure I'll catch some hell for this, but I don't think this Georgia defense is as good as it has been in the past.
No, it's not.
Excuse me. It's still very elite. It's still loaded with talent and 4 and 5 stars all over the field. It's still got a coach that knows a little bit about winning national championships with defense. But it's the quarterback, man. And they've got stud receivers. I mean, they got some beast receivers. But is 3 games in going to be enough for Gunnar Stockton to really have his claws in this offense that he can just go out there and execute at the level he's going to need to in front of us?
That's valid because lately Georgia has shown that, Kirby goes uphill in a good way. Like, they're continuing to get better as the season goes on. So yeah, it may be in our favor to catch them early, catch them before they really get rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think getting them early, I think, because I mean, just like everybody else, really. I mean, yeah, he did all right in the playoff game, but we haven't seen Gunnar Stockton, fully have a camp under his belt and take first team snaps for a whole camp. And something I learned watching you guys on your show that he came from like a 1 or 2A school.
Yeah, small.
Yeah, he's a 5-star, but he's not played at that 6A, 7A level. So who knows? Maybe we catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe it's it's a turnover, a sack, it's a missed field goal. I mean, something goofy. I don't care, man, as long as we win. And so I'm with you. I think we do get. I think if we're going to get Georgia, this is the time.
Yeah,
we got to get them. We got to get them this year, and we got to get to, we got to get over that hump.
So of our big 3, we just haven't beaten Georgia in forever, and then we haven't beaten Bama or Florida at Bama or Florida forever. Which one would mean the most to you?
Florida.
Yes, me too. Me too. I hate them so much.
I know Alabama is our, natural biggest rival. I cannot put into words how much I hate Florida.
Me too.
And anybody that follows me on Twitter knows exactly my feelings about Florida because every time they come up, I've always got the same answer. And I won't say it here because women and children and stuff, but I absolutely despise everything. Ashley asked me, well, what if he decides to go to Florida? I said, well, then you need to say your goodbyes, and it's been great knowing you,
kid. Yeah, he's getting down there on his own.
That's it. Don't call me for shit, okay? You're on your own. We have to win that game, T. So I'm God dang, I'm with you, though. I think there's going to be one. There's a trap in there somewhere. Because I think if we beat Georgia, we beat Florida, I still think 10 wins is our ceiling. And I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. But I think 10's the ceiling. I think 8's the floor, though, because I don't see more than 4 losses on this schedule, even if we lose the big 3 and Oklahoma or Arkansas or whoever jumps up and bites us. I don't see more than 4 losses. So
I agree. It is not, and to our benefit, it is not the most challenging schedule, and I'm okay with that. So we're real top heavy and we don't have much middle ground, and everything else is down there. I'm with you on Florida though, and I've talked to my dad and my uncles about it because they hate Bama the most, and then Florida. I hate Florida the most, and then Bama. But my wife is from Florida, and so when we were stationed in Indiana, like our friends there knew, and when we were leaving, our son had just been born, and so they gave us a box, like a going away box, and half of the stuff in there was Florida stuff, and half of the stuff in there was Tennessee stuff. And when we got stationed up in North Chicago after that, and when we got to our new house and we were unpacking, I threw away all the Florida stuff. I was like, that will not be in my house. I legit threw it away. And
don't even cross the threshold with that stuff.
Right. And in all reality, my wife could not care less, but she pretends to be a Florida fan just to, be antagonistic to me. So she like went out and bought a Florida mug or something, and she's short. So I just put it on the top shelf.
That's right.
And turned it around so I couldn't see the gator and she can't reach it and get it. But yeah, I cannot stand Florida in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, it does, and the sport doesn't matter. I've got some very personal reasons why I despise them so much. But like I joke, I live in just outside of Huntsville, so a fair mix. I mean, I do a lot of work on Redstone Arsenal, so there's just a plethora of different teams that are represented there because of all the all the relocation and all that is here in this area. But there's a good bit of Tennessee fans. There's a mix of Auburn, Alabama fans. So I joke with people here, and when they talk about Alabama, I'm like, man, I hope you guys go 11-1 every year. I mean, I could care less.
Just lose to us.
LSU and Texas is another story. No, I hope everybody beats the hell out of Florida. I hope Florida goes 0-12 every year. So it's just another level of disdain that I have for that program. And Heavy Poor Sports has joined the chat and said go Cats. Hey, I'm a big fan of Cats. I've got an orange tabby. Himalayan,
get out of here, Rando.
Persians, alley cats, Kit Kats. I'm a big fan of Kit Kats. The Thundercats, big fan of cats. So
that's right. Yeah, I'm with you on Florida. It's interesting. I also hate Texas. So like Florida's up here, Bama's here, and then here is like Kentucky, Texas, and starting to be Vandy. My beef with Texas, I've even more now that they're in the SEC, but I hate we're UT. That bothers me to no end because they're not. Like, it's Tennessee. I don't care if Texas is a larger school. I don't care if they have more money. I don't care about any of that. We were UT first, so we are UT. And so I've always hated Texas with them trying to run around talking about their UT. That just, and it's just that one like singular thing. The fact that they try to be UT makes me hate them. I can't stand them. I got no beef with Arch Manning, but I want minimal success for Texas.
Same. I mean, and too, if for a fan base and a program that beats its chest about all its national championships, your women have to do all your heavy lifting for you. You take away the women's championships and you look like Missouri. So, which, by the way, I still have them up on the trade block. A used washer and dryer set doesn't have to match. Ham sandwich, it can be store brand ham. Doesn't even have to be the brand name stuff. Or just free to a good home. But somebody, please, for the love of God, come get Missouri, that Dorkwitz coach that they got, and take them somewhere. They belong in the SEC about as much as a football belongs in the state of Kentucky. Okay, so please, somebody come get them.
Yeah, would not hurt my feelings if we lost Mizzou. I'd have no issue with that.
Yeah, I was trying to trade them for like UTSA or Tulane, and then I didn't get any takers there. So then I dropped it down to like used appliances, and that didn't work. So moldy loaf of bread, anything.
Free giveaway.
Now I'm like, just put them in a box and write, in Sharpie and misspell "free to a good home." Maybe somebody will pick them up. I don't know. The Florida State rivalry is obvious, but UT hate them. Kentucky hates them. Georgia hates them. Florida, because they're Florida, man. Everybody hates Florida. The only
Everybody
people
hates Florida.
Florida is Florida. They are universally hated.
They are. Yeah, that's right. Kentucky hates them. Georgia hates them. We hate them. LSU hates them.
LSU hates them.
Yes. Right. And I'm sure Ole Miss probably hates them now. So
yeah.
So yeah, can't stand Florida. One of my lieutenants at my last unit, he was from Gainesville, and he's also a Florida grad. So he and I we used to go at it quite often.
Yeah, I've only had the displeasure of working with one guy that was a Florida fan, which is bizarre because he's from Alabama. But he was like Tim Tebow, that was his hero when he was a kid and all this stuff. So, I mean, I get it. And Tebow's a great guy. I mean, I don't think anybody can hate Tim Tebow. I mean, I hate Florida, but you can't hate Tim Tebow. The guy's just super. But man, it's just, God, I don't know. I can't even, I can't stand the sight of their stadium. Their uniform's ugly. Their mascot's stupid. Their women are ugly. They're dumb, rude. There's just nothing about it. Well, the best thing to come out of Florida is me when I leave, when I'm down there on vacation. That's the best thing that's ever come out of Florida.
Well, my son was born there, so I'm gonna say him. But yeah,
you did your best to clean it up and make it somewhat decent, but it's just, God, it's awful. Anyway, so yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to stick with you. I guess I'm going to go with the 9-3 prediction. 8-4 at worst, which would be Kentucky's best hope ever for this season. Ain't happening.
No, it's not happening. They will have a losing record. No question.
That many, Rando, that many wins on your schedule I can find.
Yeah, Kentucky's not in for a good season. This will be Stoops' last.
Oh yeah, I think so too. This is he, and I think too. I think we got several coaches. I think we got him. I think we got Sam Pittman, and Billy's been on the hot seat really since he got there. Because when they didn't go 10-2, 11-1 his first season, I think that immediately put him on the radar for Florida. And now that John Gruden's gone off and said he would love to come back and coach the SEC, or coach in the SEC, then I think there's going to be a short leash on some of these hot seat coaches.
Yep, everybody's going to try to open up a seat for him. Yeah, Hugh Freeze is terrible, and you're right. When I was on recruiting, speaking of Pittman, I had a kid who actually played baseball at Kentucky that I put in because he was from Indianapolis. But I was talking to him and I was asking him about teams in the SEC, and I asked him who had the nicest facilities. And he's giving it to me from a baseball perspective, but he said Arkansas and LSU. So I mean, Arkansas, they're a prideful community. They want to be good. And I don't know if they've been good since the Felix Jones McFadden days, but you're right. I think they'd be gladly drop Pittman for a chance at Gruden, as would Auburn or whoever else too.
Oh yeah. Those ADs would knock over old women in a nursing home if they could get money in front of John Gruden. So we have a friend in the comments here that said, I'm out for the night, but I heard the dang football doesn't belong in Kentucky comment. I meant what I said. I didn't stutter. And I'm over here talking about Texas needing the women to carry them. Tennessee wouldn't have basketball success without Pat and the Lady Vols.
Correct, but we brag about it differently. We brag about it in the appropriate, like, we give the Lady Vols their credit where it's due. Like, because Tennessee, if people don't know, Tennessee fans are crazy about the Lady Vols.
Absolutely.
We love the Lady Vols, so we gladly give them their credit where it's due.
Yeah. We don't rely on them to carry our athletic program. We just give them their flowers.
Yep.
You know,
we
got
love
6
them.
national championships. If we want to go the Auburn route, we've got 16 national championships that you could argue. God, that was pathetic. Got our baseball natty. When's Kentucky been good at anything? When's the last time Kentucky won anything?
Well, and so I've been arguing with Kentucky fans like the last 2 days, of course, about basketball because they don't even enter the discussion with football. And I was telling Rando, I was just like, man, Kentucky fans, it doesn't matter which one you talk to. It's the same argument with them every time. They'll just say Final Four, Final Four, Final Four. And what I've been telling them is I was like, man, y'all are kind of like the USC of basketball. Like USC is a historical program, but they haven't been good since Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart left. UK, tremendous basketball heritage, tremendous basketball history. You haven't been good in the last decade, and that's why you had to run your last coach out of town. But all they can do is keep trying to act like they're the cream of the crop by saying Final Fours. But like, folks aren't scared to play Kentucky anymore, just like nobody's scared to play USC anymore. And it has them in shambles. I'm telling you, they are losing it. And of course, then there's no response back to me. It's just like, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm a goofy. You know, it just ad hominem attacks instead of actually coming back with something. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, they want to brag about the 2 regular season wins last year, but I mean, let's face it, Tennessee is 1-0 against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. So until you can beat us when it matters, shut up.
I told Rando, I'll take that every single season.
Yeah,
I'll go 1-2 against them every season if our 1 is ending their season.
That's right. That's right. You know, and yeah, the whole argument, because it doesn't matter. We can be talking about, you know, football, baseball, track, swimming. It doesn't matter. Kentucky fan sees us talking, and he's going to jump in and say, "Yeah, but you don't have any Final Fours."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got 6 championships in football. How many do you have? Well, you don't have any Final Fours.
Yeah.
We won a natty in baseball, you know, season ago. Well, yeah, but you don't have any Final Fours. I banged your mom behind the school in a dumpster. Yeah, but you don't have any Final Fours.
That's right.
Like, it's their answer to everything.
It is.
Well, congrats.
Everything.
Hang the banner. We have more Final Fours in Tennessee.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell them, like, yep, historically you're a significantly better program than Tennessee, but in the last decade, that gap is closing. Even if maybe even surpassed, I don't know. But either way, like, you look at history, you know, it's going to take us 40 more years if we won every single game to equal up the record. But in the last 10 years, that's not the case. Yeah, and that's the main thing.
Historically, Vanderbilt absolutely owns Texas in football. Like, they're like 8-4 against them in football. Texas, you know, playing the schedule that they play with the rotations, Texas isn't even going to be able to even the series for like 30-something years.
Right.
But anybody outside of Diego Poverty and the 8 Vanderbilt fans that exist are going to tell you that Vanderbilt's better than Texas in football.
Right.
It's asinine. And what's he flabbing his gums about over here now? Oh, it's the only one we need. The Final Four argument. It's the only one we need. And he said it hasn't been. It's been 5 since they made a Final Four. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to.
There's no way y'all ran Cal up out of Lexington that quickly after a Final Four. That's why y'all ran Cal out, because y'all don't matter anymore. And so y'all are all in your feelings about it, so you ran Cal up out of town.
That's right. The lifetime contract. Right? Remember?
Yeah.
And it lasted the lifetime of when you found him useful. So believe me, Arkansas and Kentucky play. Huge Calipari fan at that point. So we'll see. I kept you a little longer than I had hoped, or excuse me, expected, and probably longer than you hoped.
It's been a blast for me. I love it.
So I hope we can do this again. I hope that guy in blue, and of course, I don't mind sharing you with AB and the Louisville folks, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, man. Anytime, I would love for you to come on, chop it up. There's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about in the coming weeks, and probably sooner than later with the way the schedule lays out. And so I just want to thank you sincerely for your service to this great country. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for coming on the show, spending your time, and talking through all this stuff. I sincerely appreciate it, and really hope we can do it again soon.
Anytime, my friend. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I didn't run any of your listeners off. Last Final Four was 2015 for Kentucky. So it's been a decade.
Math is not their strong suit.
No, it's not, especially not random.
Horses and meth are probably their strong suits, but neither one of those are NCAA sanctioned. So I don't really know what they're good for anymore, other than a free win in football, keeping toy stock up, Temu toys up in baseball, because they like to play with those in the dugout, and they occasionally win a basketball game or two. So
yeah, back in the day. We love you, Rando.
I love you, Rando. All in good fun, man.
Yeah.
See you. Love you, brother. Thank you so much for joining, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody.